political stability, confidence in the future, and values. In this paper, we explore how material conditions pertaining to the material well-being and the objective security that individuals enjoy/experience and respondents' perceptions about their and their countries' economic and political security affect the respondents' value orientation. The analysis of both micro-level and macro-level data reveals that the value orientation is not simply a function of material conditions, material well-being and political stability, as a large body of research has already uncovered, but also of the respondents' fears about their future economic conditions and/or about the possible destabilization of the political systems in which they live. Since ancient times, from Hippocrates and Aristotle, the forefathers of the social sciences, the philosophers have recognized that different people have specific characters and customs, what social scientists now call cultures, and that these differences were in large part attributable to climatic differences. While the notion that material, and subordinately natural, forces may affect human beings gained some appeal in the Middle Ages, Aquinas, for instance, in his Summa Theologiae, acknowledges the impact of natural forces, such as the disposition of the stars, on physical strength and complexion. Aquinas 1989, 1a96, 3. Much less attention, if any, has been paid to whether material forces, through the impact on physical conditions, also have an impact on values and/or culture. With the advent of modernity, and especially in the 18th century, the relationship between material conditions and cultures experienced a sort of renaissance. While the impact of material forces has been widely recognized, the agreement as to how compelling the material explanations of social phenomena or of the material determinants of culture are, has been far from unanimous. Regardless of the importance of these material conditions, these studies, from Aristotle to Fontenelle, were also willing to acknowledge the importance of non-material forces such as exchanges/interactions, Diderot 1992, governments, Aristotle 2009, Fontenelle 1688, legislation, communication and/or contagion, Hume 2018, and ideas, Weber 1946. In the course of the past few decades, there has been a renewed interest in the study of political culture, of its consequences, of its causes, and of cultural change. The process of cultural, economic, and political change is what is generally called modernization. There are two cultural changes that generally align with modernization. First, in modernizing societies, post-material values replace materialist values, and, second, secularization occurs as a society modernizes, Norris and Inglehart 2011. The discussion of the causes or determinants of cultural change in recent years mirrors the philosophical discussions that, from Aristotle to the philosophers of the Enlightenment, have pitted the advocates of materialist explanations against the advocates of the non-material, social, moral, and psychological causes. Norris and Inglehart, 2006, for instance, show that religiosity is a function of material conditions. By contrast, Welzel and Inglehart, 2009, showed how the social and political characteristics of individuals, education, religion, and religiosity, and societies, action resources, democratic stock, and religious demography, affect the level of emancipative values in a country. A third stream of studies in this tradition has attempted to explain cultural change, differences, or variations on the basis of both material and non-material/social factors. 39 to 40 show that economic modernization explains 63% of the variance in survival/self-expression values, that three other cultural variables, communist political heritage, Protestant cultural heritage, and Orthodox religious heritage, had a, statistically, significant impact on the distribution of survival/self-expression values around the globe, and that the combination of material and non-material factors explained 84% of the variance. The framework proposed by Norris and Inglehart, 2011, 2015, could be depicted in the following way: material conditions, greater than, sense of security, greater than cultural change. We propose instead a framework that allows us to assess the direct and indirect impact of material factors as well as the impact of non-material considerations. Specifically, we view cultural change as a function of political and economic confidence, non-material, and of political stability and economic conditions, material, which may have both a direct and indirect effect on cultural change. Figure 1. The analysis of the individual data reveals that material conditions matter, but also that non-material, ideational factors matter as well. For example, variation in the level of emancipative values is a function of both wealth and confidence about a country's political stability, while variation in the level of secularism is instead primarily a function of the confidence about a country's expected political stability in the future. Our analysis of macro-level data, in line with what we had already found at the micro-level, reveals that the diffusion of emancipative values is directly influenced by national income and political confidence. It also shows that political confidence is influenced by the level of political stability that a country enjoys, that the effect of political stability on emancipative values is mediated by political confidence. With regard to the diffusion of secular values, our analyses reveal that political confidence is affected by political stability, that economic confidence reflects a country's wealth, but that political confidence is the only variable that has a significant impact on secularism. This means, concretely, that in countries in which the population fears the outbreak of a war, of a civil war or terrorist attacks, it is less likely to be as secular as a society in which such fears do not exist or are, at least, less widespread. The importance of religion reflects a sense of existential insecurity and, conversely, secularization is associated with, and promoted by, a sense of material security. What our analyses reveal is that the sense of material security is affected by a country's material conditions, as Norris and Inglehart had shown, but it cannot be reduced to material conditions alone. Subjective conditions, such as the perceived risk of conflict, matter as well.